In the previous video we have understood how does the dependency injection will be done with respect to constructor and setter based. We have seen what are the scopes of it, how do we instantiate, how do we destroy, and also we have seen how to use the references. Now what is a dependency resolution process? For a particular container, the dependency resolution is as follows. One, we have to have application context is getting created and initialized with the configuration metadata that describes all the beans. Second is, for each bean, its dependencies are expressed in the form of properties, constructor arguments. Each property or constructor argument is an actual definition of the value to set or the reference to another bean in the container. We have used references using property and constructor. Fourth point is, each property or constructor argument, that is a value, is converted from its specified format to the actual type of that property or constructor argument. So this is called a dependency resolution process for a particular Spring containers. Next we will try to understand the Spring core technologies. In Spring core technologies, there is another way in which we can use container configurations, which is called as Java based container configurations. So previously we have seen with respect to XML based. Now we are going to understand how to use Java based container configurations. First we will understand the annotations. So the basic annotations which is being used in Java based container configurations is @bean and @configurations. The annotation which is being used at configurations will actually tell that we are going to have a specific what do you say, this is a configuration. We have to define it when a class has been defined. So this will give us the complete configuration properties for a Spring container, that it is a configuration file, and inside that it becomes an bean annotations. So it is equivalent to writing in XML configuration, which is @configuration, which is like beans, and you are going to tell this annotation as @bean. So this is equivalent to write it as an bean element. Now annotating a class with a configuration indicates that its primary purpose is the configuration class let interbean dependencies be defined by calling other bean methods in the same class as a source of the bean definition. So this is what the annotation class main importance is. Next we will understand that how does this particular Java based container configurations can be done. See, in a particular container configurations, you can do class can be defined something like this, which is called @configuration. For an example, we are used to do it in a bean configuration, which is beans. Bean of ID is called my service, and class is the package name we used to define. In the same way, we can define a particular class which is @configuration, public class appconfig. So this is my class of configuration file, which is XML Java based configuration. In bean we are going to specify. So this is the particular bean tag we are going to tell. So this particular bean annotation will tell that this particular method is gonna return me whatever we have gonna define it with respect to the class and ID. Now you are going to return a particular object. So this is my method name, so which is my service. So you are having a method name called my service. So in this it is gonna return a new object whenever it is being called. So now this is a configuration which has been done. So we have a method which returns a particular object to it, and we have defined that particular method as a bean. So it is equivalent to writing this XML file configuration, and it is an equivalent to writing a Java based configuration file. Now, with respect to the simplest form, instantiating the Spring container by using annotation config application context. So how do we access a particular a configuration file which is actually defined into it? So it is like we are going to use in Spring container using the annotation config application context, as we used to do it for XML file using class path XML application context. The same way, the configuration classes as an input when it is instantiating the annotation config application context. This follows a simple XML free usage of the Spring container, and it is like you are doing everything in a Java program, so you don't need to worry about any of the other XML files to be loaded back. So it will be completely on pure Java based configuration which can be loaded onto the application. Now, how do we access a particular class, a configuration class onto our application context? So you can use annotation config application context, and the input we can give the class name, so which is actually having configurations which has been defined. So we need to have in that configuration file at configuration file and at bean annotation to be used inside that. So it is again reverting with respect to the application context, and the object is CTX. So we are going to use the same type of request. So it is like getting bean. So we get an instance from a particular class based configuration, which is Java based configuration, and the object will be reverted back. So the same way we can do whatever we wanted. So with respect to the various methods, so we got an instance already. So with that particular instance, we can do any kind of things. Means we can have any specific methods to be called. You can call, or you want to set any values, you can set the values, and also we can do any other operations which we needed. So with respect to this specific introduction, what we will do is we'll go with a demo of it. With a simple demo we are going to see, and later on we'll go one by one with a complicated one. So for an demo, we will get back to the same bean whatever we have defined in here. So what we have done in here is, in a particular XML, so we are going to take this same configurations and we are going to convert this particular XML based configuration to our Java based configuration. So how we can do it is, we need to create a new class. In this particular class, I will just tell that the message config. So this is a new particular configuration file for a particular message we are going to create, and just click on we need to define this particular class as a configuration. So I am going to tell with an annotation called configuration. So this specific annotations will actually help to tell to the Spring container that this is an configuration file. In this I am going to define a bean. So what is the specific configuration we have used? So in the bean we have created message, right? The same thing we are going to create as a method now. So we are going to tell public. So we are going to return back a message object. So we are going to use a message object back with respect to bean configuration. Next, in that I will tell a method called as message. So we are going to use the return of new message to it. So it is an equivalent to writing a particular method to for a particular message, but in here it is actually asking me to put the details. So what I will do, I will just tell from Java based. Okay, so this is because we are already having the constructor which has been defined, right? So we are already having a constructor which is defined inside a particular message. So that is why it is asking me to create an object with respect to constructor. If you are not having any kind of constructor, it doesn't need that to be defined. So I can just remove the arguments whatever has been done. So without constructor we are going to run. Now this is my configuration file, which is equivalent to this particular XML, whatever has been shown up, right? So here I will just show you that what is an XML file which XML bean configurations has been done, and it is actually, we will go one by one. We'll tell about scope and everything, but before that, without constructors, we are going to run this particular thing, how to get this bean configurations to be taken out. So in a demo application, I'll just remove all these things because we are not working with XML based configurations. So now what I will do is I will use application context. So AC is equal to new. So new, how do I access an annotation? So I will use annotation config application context. Inside this, I need to specify the class name. So I need to specify the class name, which is message config dot class. So this is my class which is being used as an input to it. Now whatever the configurations have been done previously to this, those configurations will be taken out. So this is where application context of AC will come into picture. Now I need to request for the message class. So how I can do it? It's the same way as we used to do it for that XML base. So message m is equal to AC dot get bean. So we are going to have a get a bean configuration, and inside this I am going to tell that what is the class which I am going to use. So I will tell this is a message dot class. So this is what the class which is needed. Here you don't need to give any kind of name. If you want to specify any name, you can specify the bean name to it. There is no problem with that. So again, the same process we are going to follow. Like we will understand that it is coming as a singleton or not. It is a scope is a singleton or not. So first we will just display this particular object directly. So we will understand that first thing is based on the Java based configurations, we are extracting the objects into it. Now this is how I run it. So now I got my object which is running. Now again I will ask for another object which is displayed back. So I am just going a bit faster to just to show you with respect to Java based configurations. So here I'm gonna demonstrate with respect to singleton. The scope is same as default or not. So we are just I'm just calling another one instance with respect to em. So now you can see that by default the instances whatever has been written it from the object, it is actually a singleton based, right? It is a scope is singleton by default, so it is not prototype now. So so this is where the proper demonstration for the scope is done. So now I need to specify the scope. So we have to define with respect to constructor. So now what I will do is I will just revert back that particular constructor which is being used. So I will just revert back. Coming back to this, I will just specify the message telling that hello from Java base. So now we will understand that we can do from the constructor base. So this is where the directly I am just creating an object with respect to the constructor argument. So that is where this is a constructor based thing is coming. So here again I will change with respect, we will just demonstrate this. Afterwards I will work with the scope of it. Now in a specific message I will just remove this just to know that what are the values which has been specified for a particular object. If I comment this, what is the advantages? If I comment this, I am going to get the object reference. If I don't, if I just have this particular toString, then the object will not get displayed. It will run this particular toString by default, and it will give you the values whatever it is present. So that is where the advantage of toString is present. Now here with the demo run application, so now what I am going to do is I am going to run, and I'll just show you that both the objects, whatever is present, it is a singleton object. Now it is actually getting me the configurations from the Java based configuration. I hope so you are able to understand this. Now message config, now I am going to put up the scope is called prototype. We have already done this specific demonstration. Now with respect to the scope, I am going to tell that what is the scope is being used. So I will use a scope. In this particular scope, we are going to tell that so the scope name which we are going to tell is prototype. So this becomes an specific scope. So I will give value. Okay. Now scope value is equal to prototype. So now we need to know that different objects are coming up. So again I will go over there. I'll just comment this, and again I will run this particular thing which is necessary. Now we will understand that we have got two different objects. So what is the thing is, now the configuration on that particular object has got changed. Now this specific configurations, whatever we have default configurations, whatever was there, it has been removed. So now this is based on Java. So we are using all annotations only. So we are going to use the annotations to do the configuration. So now this is what it is doing the magic in here. So we have already demonstrated these two things which is there. Next, another annotation we can use which is called init method. So we have a scope. In the scope itself we can give init method. So the init method I am going to give init, and another one with respect to comma I will give destroy method. So in destroy method I will tell that the method which is being used is destroy method. There is another one which we can use another property which is called as name. So in the name I can tell it is an message. So this gives us the uniqueness of the particular bean which is being called. So I have a init method and destroy method which has been put up. So this is the basic configuration. Now we are having scope I have defined init method and destroy method, which is completely based on Java based configurations. So we will run this and we'll let you know how does it exactly works. Now this is two different methods. Now we can say inside this init method, inside this message of init method which is being used. So now you are able to understand that in Java based configurations also I can do all those particular things, and as well as we can use it with respect to XML based also is the same thing. So now I'm gonna define another bean as a configuration. So here I don't need to because in this particular bean called email I have not specified anything as such. So now here I am going to specify email. So here email with a message, and here I am going to specify email with a message. So here it will take two different arguments, which is like email with string, and another one is message of message. So here what I am going to do is with respect to email. So I am going to tell rvc.edu.in. So again I am going to tell new of, or I am going to call the message here. That's it. So as I call this particular message in here, so it creates a new object, right? It is again based on this configurations. It is gonna take up this particular configurations into it, and it will gonna display it. So this is how it will work. So now how do I access that? So how do I access? I will do the same particular process, which is like I'm going to use this. So here I have used the object called ac.getBin. Here I am going to use the name, so I don't need to use the name. So I am not doing any changes into it, but whatever the Java class which is actually there, the same based on that we are going to call. Now I will run this. I will show you how does it exactly works. Here we are going to use email messages. So now you can see that it has done an instantiation of the message. Message is done. Next, it is also done with respect to the message config, because toString has been removed. I have removed that just to tell you that there are two different objects which is coming in. It has been called with email messages. Now you can see that this whole message which has got it. So it is a new message with respect to this configuration. So you have got a new object which is getting displayed. So this is how the total configurations with respect to the Java based and XML based we can do it. You can see that you can just try to observe with respect to the message configurations. I've used the same annotations which is there. So here @bean annotation is being used, @scope is annotation is being used, @bean with init method, destroy method, and name as a particular thing we have used. For the scope, I have defined a value called prototype. So it means that we are going to have what do you say, the different objects which is getting displayed. So this is how the total configurations of the bean, and also we have done a reference from the particular other bean which has been placed in here. So this is an reference which is being used. So here we am going to use a reference with respect to constructor. So during the creation of the particular object, we are going to use this specific reference. So now this is and really the best way of creating any kind of the objects with completely configurations which is being used. Thank you so much.